Greetings again, and I hope you're all well. Greetings to the people on Zoom. I hope you're also well. We can start with the word of prayer. Dear God in heaven, thank you for today's day. Thank you that you've been with us throughout the whole day. May you please be with us as we're about to study your word. Help us understand. I pray all this in Christ's name. Amen. Okay, so we have talked about multiple things. Yesterday, we talked about sex and gender. The purpose of that was to say sex and gender are two distinct things. Then we got to today. We talked about we are equal but different. We are equal but not the same. And the purpose of that was to show that we are all different people. Deborah took us to Eden at the creation of Adam and Eve. And we saw that they were created differently. They were created differently. They were not the same. Different height. Yeah, they're just different. And we saw that. And Ritando took us to heaven and the Godhead, where we used the model of natural to spiritual, where we said that based on that model, we can say that the Godhead are distinctly different things, beings. And that they are equal, but they are different. So the main thing was to show that being different does not mean that you are not equal. That was the main purpose of the study. Us being different does not mean that we are not equal. And the reason I wanted to bring that up to you was to say that when we're explaining equality, we explain it as being the same. I made an example. When a person says, I don't believe in equality because, you can translate. Oh, because men and women, a man is physically stronger than a woman. And I said how you moved from that conversation. Determines the entire conversation itself. you can say women are also physically strong. And I'm not denying that. Women can also be physically strong. But us replying like that, we are missing the plot. The plot is we are all equal. Not that we're the same. We are not the same. We're not created the same. And the minute you start talking about physical attributes, it's moving away from the plot, which is we're all equal. What part? Oh. Can I continue? Yeah. I don't know if anyone has questions based on the presentation that I made in the morning. That we were created equal, but different. Questions? If there are no questions, we can move on. We already explained equality. I believe we already know what equality is. Based on that, I have a question. Ooh. That's my question. Can there be hierarchy in equality? We are all radical feminists, right? We are all radical feminists, right? Can there be hierarchy in radical feminism? That's my question. And we're gonna look at it together. Can there be hierarchy in equality? That's a question. Answers. Can you help? There's a hand. They're in front.
Hello? So I don't have the answer to the question, but I would want perhaps to have the definition for hierarchy. That may help to whether no there is hierarchy or not in radical feminism.
Your question is, what is hierarchy? Can anyone try answering that? What do you see hierarchy as? What is hierarchy? Anyone? Okay. I will say hierarchy is having different levels of abilities. No, that's the wrong definition. It's trapping. I'm trapping myself. Anyone who has the definition of hierarchy. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. Does anyone have a definition of hierarchy and what they think hierarchy is? Oh. Wait, it was footy. It was footy.
But I'll try to answer the questions. The question. So my answer is yes, there can be hierarchy in equality. Because equality, you have taught us that we are not the same but equal. Therefore, us being not the same means we have different levels of expertise. Therefore, those who are lesser developed in a specific expertise will need to be led by those who are well advanced. Then equality means the attitude of those who are well advanced, not undermining those who are less advanced.
Can I change? Sorry. Can I change the word that you used? Instead of using the word advanced, can we say different abilities?
Thank you. Correction accepted.
Okay. There was a hand, Monica. Okay.
I wanted to read the definition of hierarchy from the dictionary. It's defined as a social, religious, economic, or a political system in which people or groups of people are ranked with some superior to others based on their status, authority, or some other trait. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Monica.
I imagine it as a pyramid structure where there is someone above us and someone else above them until the very top, which would be the leader, the main leader.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? So we have 3 way of looking at hierarchy. Which they've been stated. To the person who asked the question. Are you answered? Okay. So what hierarchy is, I like this. The reason I drew this triangle is because I see this as hierarchy. Agreeing with what Monica said. Hierarchy is about having different functions. This somehow relates to my presentation I did in the morning. We are all different. We all have different abilities. I'm using the word abilities to avoid the use of the word roles. Roles. Because when we think about roles, it sounds like a prison sentence that the society has put based on a person. So I'm just gonna use the word abilities. So we're all different. You have different abilities. Based on the answers that were given, can a society exist without hierarchy? Can we have a society where there's no hierarchy? There's no government. There's no leader. We're just us. If you get what I'm saying. Can a society exist without hierarchy?
My answer is no. The society cannot exist without hierarchy. And for sure you are looking for a reason.
Yes, I'm waiting for it.
I think it's based on the triangle that which it's already been given. I think the societies that which we live in have made us to think that those who are on top, they are supposed to just trample upon those who are below them. But when we understand what equality is, we can be able to understand how actually even a society should run. How even a church actually functions. Even just to give an example with our own movement. We have our elders who are also led by God. And you have those who are below them, and what should happen is they should treat each other with equality. Paminder cannot see me as of less value because he's an elder. But one thing that I learn a lot from him is that he treats us with equality. He understands what equality is.
Before we continue, before you continue, I just want to ask something. I asked a question. Can a society exist without hierarchy? I think that's how I phrased the question. And I just want to know by the show of hands, who believes that a society can exist without hierarchy? it can be a well-functioned and organized society without hierarchy? Just want to know by a show of hands. Who believes that a society can exist without hierarchy? Show of hands. Okay. By a show of hands, who believes that a society can exist as hierarchy is necessary for society? Who believes that a society needs hierarchy? And those who did not raise their hand? Is it because you don't understand? What? I'm going to ask again. Who believes that there shouldn't be a hierarchy? We should live in a society without hierarchy. Show of hands. Okay. The opposite of that question. I don't want to ask it again. Okay. Now I'm going to ask, why do you think that? Because I saw you raising your hands. So we had different hands. Sorry. Yeah.
We need hierarchy in any society or any organization for the sake of order and accountability. If there's no order, then you risk having anarchy in that group.
Can you speak a bit louder?
Okay, I'm saying if there's no order,
Okay.
there is a risk of anarchy.
What is anarchy? Oh, continue.
And a situation where people do as they please. And it will essentially be directionless.
Okay. So you're saying that, okay, let's just do this. Reasons for hierarchy. And then you said order. Basically, right? Wait, sorry. We had another hand. Footy there.
The answer is to, can there be a society without a hierarchy? Was that the question?
That was
Yeah,
That-
because I was going to say,
the
Yes.
question, main question.
yeah, I think when I refer to this, to your previous study, right in Eden, God created hierarchy in equality. The physique of Adam and the responsibility of Adam to protect and love Eve. And also see Eve also as an equal. Then to me it shows hierarchy in equality. To me it shows hierarchy in equality.
I didn't get what you're saying. Was it a question or a point?
It was a point to the question.
That there was hierarchy in the Garden of Eden?
Yes. Inequality.
Who was higher? Because in hierarchy, there's one person up and there's one person down. So I'm trying to figure out, how do you see hierarchy in Eden? Because I don't know if you saw the quotations that we're reading. It showed there was no hierarchy there.
Understanding that those who are leading us, their duty is to protect. And I see Adam having been given also the responsibility or the duty to protect Eve because of his physical build. But to see her as his equal. I stand to be corrected.
Can I ask, can you keep the mic? Can she keep the mic? Give it to Futi. So what you're saying is that there was hierarchy in the Garden of Eden? And Adam was given the role of being higher. Is that what you're saying?
If maybe I can try and expatiate the physical build of Adam, that Adam was physically higher in the statute, higher than Eve. I see it as a parabolic interpretation that there was some hierarchy of some sort because Eve was not to protect, but Adam was to protect Eve.
Why are you making the issue about gender? Could Eve protect Adam? Why are you making Adam the protector? We said they were different, right?
Yes.
But equal. Couldn't Eve protect Adam? Why are you making this entire thing about gender? Why are you going to Eden and identifying the hierarchy? Because we don't see it. It's not there. Just because Adam was physically stronger did not make him above Eve. There's no hierarchy there. I want to know, why do you see hierarchy there? Because of what Ellen White wrote? Ellen White was living in a patriarchal society. A man's role was to protect. I don't want to say this. I could say that part was incorrect. I could say that part was incorrect. Because it's built on a patriarchal mindset. But we're all a group of people who are very intelligent, I'm told. We can work that out together. But I don't think there was hierarchy in Eden. It wasn't there. Did everybody get Futi's statement? Can we help Futi with that? If you're seeing a problem with it, can we help Futi with that? Do you think that there was hierarchy in Eden? Question 1. We all know that there was equality in there. But was there hierarchy? And if there was, yeah, people who have hands, something. Can you please help? Thank you.
So I guess, is your question limited to humans?
No.
If it's not limited to humans, I think Genesis goes through the hierarchy that existed. Adam and Eve basically ruling the animals. The angels, for the time being above humans. So if we just say it as beings, I think there was a hierarchy. And had humans replicated under a sinless model, I would think eventually a hierarchy would have developed based on talents.
Okay. Anyone else?
Wrong idea. Because in me I see hierarchy comes as the hierarchy is not is I mean it is not it is human information human production. I mean the humanity came with the idea of authoritative, but as you come from Eden, God is the way from beginning. He never created the hierarchy. The hierarchy came as the devil is inspiring people's mind to be superior, to be higher. When God was putting the leaders, he never put them hierarchy. They were in the front line of fighting. They never be hierarchy, but to sit behind and look at the things. All these, how God, through all, the leaders of God, all through, they were not in hierarchy. They were the forefront to lead the people to advance, to do something. If there were, the king was in the front line. Today, the president cannot go to the front line, but God is people. We are going to the front line, the leaders. For me, I believe in my life that it was created by humanity, the devil to empower, so that you are on top, you look down on people. When you see the triangle, you are on top, you are looking at the people and down. And even when you see Jesus, when he was reading, when he says the story of the shepherd is in front. But you see the devil changed it. The shepherd nowadays is behind to beat the animal. So me, maybe I'm thinking wrong, but me, yeah, I think this is a wild view of the way the devil is entering the people's mind to make them superior.
Anyone else?
I think perhaps we may need to come to a consensus of what hierarchy means. And also what its purpose is. I think perhaps if we do that, we might be able to identify whether or not it's there in Eden. I think if we do that, we'll be able to identify whether or not we see hierarchy in Eden.
Anyone else? I'm just collecting my thoughts.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. So I wanted to say, yes, it's possible. Let me see, what was the question? For a society to exist without hierarchy. At the same time, I'll say it can't exist without hierarchy. I'll first address why I say yes, it can exist without hierarchy. I was just looking. I was also just looking at equality in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, among humans, which is Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen that with a small number, it's actually possible. So if the individuals involved, if they are going to function on principles where they have personal responsibility, mutual independence, collective decision making, and and not any one of them trying to dominate the other. So with a society that has got a big number, it actually becomes difficult, or it's complex. So I think that's where we begin to see the importance of having a hierarchy.
Thank you. Let's just look at Adam and Eve. It was just the two of them. We're not going to talk about animals and others for now. Based on the answers that I got and how I understand it, there was no need for a hierarchy if there's just the two of them. The purpose of a hierarchy is for order. And order is needed when you have multiple people. Now, let's add in the animals. There was hierarchy there. The humans were given authority over the animals. Between Adam and Eve, there was no hierarchy. But between Adam and Eve and the animals, there was hierarchy. That is what I got from the responses. And I'm agreeing with that, all of that. The summary that I made. Catherine. Monica.
I just wanted to comment or respond to the comments that were made. The comments that were made earlier, I wanted to respond to about Adam and Eve. The point that was made that we could use it like a parable, that the height difference would indicate superiority. I don't think that we can do it that way. If we could, we might look at Satan and Christ. We might look at Satan and Christ and observe who was the more glorious looking of the two. And make a mistake as to who was superior. The other point is, after sin, there was a change. That change was a prediction that there would be inequality between two people that were meant to be equal partners. The fact that that prediction, or it may say curse in the scriptures, was declared at that point would indicate that it hadn't been in place before that. It would indicate that that wasn't how it was before that point. So I've given two reasons. One is looking at another example. And the other one was to look at the timeline. The timeline. That's all.
Thank you. So, Catherine, you mentioned something about Christ and Lucifer, and you were using it as an example to answer Futi. Do you mind expanding on that?
Yes. No, I don't mind. My understanding of the way that Lucifer appeared compared to Christ, I think what explains that Lucifer looked amazing. And then there's this little word in that quote, yet. I think it was yet. And then goes to describe Christ, which implies that side by side, the more taller of the two, if we're going to do the same thing. The taller one was Lucifer. So if we were to use that same concept of applying height as an indicator of who's been given a role to be superior. We could make a big mistake and say Lucifer is the one who's a protector of Christ. Is that okay?
Yeah. Thank you. There's a hand.
I want to start with a question. Equality in Eden, does it involve both humans and animals?
You asking me? There's a question, Charles. Can you repeat your question?
Does equality in Eden involve both humans and animals?
That's the question. Please help me. Curtis.
I think when you defined what equality is, and you started your studies under that premise, wherever the study goes has to keep that in mind about what we're talking about. Equality under the law. And so when you start bringing in animals and etc., I think you have to ask yourself if it makes sense under those constraints. So my answer would be no, because there's just a different system that's put in place.
Anyone else? I'm gonna come to you. Anyone else who can try answering Liberty's question? Liberty. Can give it to Liberty.
So the reason why I asked this question is that we are trying to create a structure in Eden using animals and humans. And I think the original question is, can there be hierarchy in equality? So if humans and animals aren't equal, we can therefore not sustain our answers using those two different elements. So in Eden, if there is no hierarchy between humans, there is no hierarchy in Eden. We cannot even bring angels because we are talking of two different elements already. Okay, I also wanted to respond to Darlington's question. What is hierarchy? I think it's just a structure that sustains a society, which will regard or which will need a leader and those who are being led. So it is a structure that is filled by elements that lead one another. However, the system is used is because I had thoughts like Satan manipulated or distorted the society. But we all know that Satan cannot create anything. Satan just counterfeits. So Satan counterfeited the hierarchy that was put in place, we can say, by God, and used it for the wrong reasons. So my 2 points are, there is no hierarchy in Eden, we cannot see it. And hierarchy, whether it's being used by God or Satan, it exists in a society. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It's a question. I just wanted to know that why did Lucifer wanted to be greater than Jesus in heaven? Wasn't it because of the duties that were given to Jesus? And then Lucifer thought that because he was shiny and big, then Jesus was not fit enough. So he was the one who was supposed to be given the duties. Okay, the question I want to know, why did Lucifer had a fight in heaven? Wasn't it because of the duties that were given to Christ, and then Lucifer thought that Jesus Christ was not fit enough because Lucifer was in stature, he was tall and shiny, and he thought he was. Yes, then he thought the duties were actually meant for him, not for Jesus. Okay, that was the question.
I don't know. I don't know an answer to that question. I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I genuinely don't know. But we can work it out together. But I don't know because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know. Yeah, there's Elder Doreen. Elder Doreen. Oh.
No, can you please try and simplify the question if possible?
So the question was how I understood it. It was looking at Satan and Jesus. They had different roles. Did Satan feel like Jesus' roles were... Did Satan want Jesus' roles? That was the question, right? And the question is why, right? I said I don't know why. Tato.
So, I think I might also not be correct in what I'm going to say, but I'll try.
He won.
But I think we need to just look at why or how God put together the planet and heaven.
The planet.
The planet and heaven. What do we see here on earth? What do we see or learn in heaven? What is the purpose that God is trying to teach us in the information that we have been given? So I think when it comes to the question of hierarchy, I think you can be able to, I don't know if it's, I'm about simplifying things to my own level of understanding. But in its simplest way, yes, we can be able to see hierarchy in heaven. Based on a definition of what hierarchy is. And then when you come to what is Lucifer, why is Lucifer wanting the roles that Christ is having? Also, in being simplified, you can be able to see that he's not pleased with what Christ is doing. Being simplified again, you can be able to see that Lucifer may not even like the position or may not like the leadership of Christ. So he sees, probably he saw heaven going forward in the way if he, Lucifer, is the leader. So he wants to topple the government into this language. So he wants to remove the present leader, and then he wants to insert himself as a leader. Why? It's because of he wants the structure of hierarchy to exist in that way. Them making the counterfeit that, I'll use what Liberty was saying, that you see Lucifer wanting to create a counterfeit. So God will create a perfect hierarchy. Lucifer will want to, or Satan will want to counterfeit that. So I think that's the way I'll simplify it to myself to understand it, or what is the purpose of even the great controversy itself. And I think that's the power struggles that which we are seeing.
Thank you. The reason why I said I don't know, because the question takes us to heaven. I believe the answers that are going to come from that are going to be based on theories, on what we think. We don't have full understanding of heaven. So to avoid making assumptions, I said I don't know. But what Tato said kind of makes sense. But I don't know. Because the reason why I'm saying that, I don't want to bring our assumptions to heaven. Tato.
So probably, if I can say that, you have the natural, which is what we see currently. Our planet, it's what we can be able to comprehend and be able to see. So when we speak about heaven, obviously we are speaking about that, about something that we don't know. But if I'm using the rules of parables correctly, I look at what I can be able to see, what I can be able to understand about the natural world that which I have. And trying to understand what heaven may look like, even though it may not fully be explained or be exemplified by what is happening in the natural world which I live in. It's a complex thing, but we just try to simplify it to our human level.
Okay. Thank you. That made sense. Any questions? Comments? Additions?
So I have a problem with the word hierarchy. Because I think the way that it's used in society, it ranks people according to the level of importance. And I think if sin hadn't happened, I don't think we would be using the word hierarchy. think the idea that Lucifer had in his mind was driven by this idea where importance is assigned based on certain attributes. And I don't think that the angels recognized hierarchy in their society in heaven until Lucifer fell. So I wish we could use a different word.
Okay. Synonyms of hierarchy are even more bad. I just looked. If you think hierarchy is bad, look at other synonyms of hierarchy. They are just horrible. And I think I just want to mention something. We have a problem. We as society, we have coined some words to be bad. We are making words inherently just bad. We are associating words. We are associating words. Hierarchy. It's bad. We have associated hierarchy with badness. But based on what we have discussed here, not talking about heaven and everything, just talking about earth, not even mentioning Eden, just a society at large. Hierarchy is a necessary structure. Because as it was said by Joseph, was it Joseph? I don't remember who said it. Oh, Darlington, sorry. Was that the reason for hierarchy is for order and accountability. So when looking at society, I am avoiding to look at Eden or heaven. Just looking at society at large as radical feminists. I think hierarchy is necessary for a well-organized society. The problem that people have, or the issue that people have with hierarchy, are really the individuals in power. Are the individuals in power, not the structure itself. You have a problem with the people in power, not the structure. If the government wasn't doing bad laws, I'm just going to make an example between the government and us. Our problem isn't that there is a government. Our problem is the people who are in power and the ideas that those people have. It's not really about the structure itself. So a functional society requires hierarchy. we need government. And who is in top, I would say, matters. Because if it wasn't bad people who were in top, and those people treated everyone with equality, and no one was discriminated against, I don't think we'd have a problem with that structure. Because everyone has the same equal value. Equality. Equal rights. The problem isn't the structure itself. It is the people in power. So hierarchy is about function. Order. Accountability. Which we wouldn't have without. We wouldn't have a functioning society without hierarchy. Because without it, let's just imagine a world without hierarchy. Let's just imagine a world without hierarchy. Would there be order? Who would make decisions? There wouldn't be order, there would be chaos. Everybody would want to do what they feel is right. Since we're all different, we all have different views. Everybody will want to put on that input. But when you have a hierarchy, you have a person on top who listens to the concerns, the ideas on how to function. And based on everything they have listened to, they can employ or say, I think this idea is best. So there would be poor decisions without hierarchy. Lack of accountability. So it is important for us to just imagine a world without hierarchy. An equal world without hierarchy. And I don't think it would function so well. Yeah. Any questions on that? The questions.
Okay, so on what you have just said, a thought came to my mind. We put order under hierarchy, that it brings order. And we associate order as one of the things that God is part of. God is a God of order. And then Satan will counterfeit the work that God is doing. He will not allow the society to be without the structure. He will create his own structure. So he will copycat the structure that God has. So when you put them side by side, you can be able to see that you will have good leaders and bad leaders. You will have leaders that are thinking for the people whom they are leading. And you will have leaders that are not thinking for the people whom they are leading. In God's structure, you will have a leader who will treat everybody equal as to himself or themselves. But in Satan's hierarchy, you will have a leader who will want to subject everybody under him, under them. So it's, I think it can be able to be scrutinized, or we can put them side by side and be able to see the hierarchical order that God has put in place, and be able to see that actually Satan wanted to counterfeit that. And he did not allow it to be a society that has not a leader. So Satan made it a point to follow what God was actually doing. To be able to have more subjects to himself, or to them, I'll say himself.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you. Darlington.
Earlier on, there's a thought that came out that hierarchy is not necessary when you have few people. If that's the case, then my question is it then not possible to have disorder amongst two people?
I'm going to answer your question, but I know that you want a reason for that answer. I think well-organized people who people can talk it out. People can agree on something and work on a way forward. So if there are two people, there's no need for hierarchy, because they can just talk it out, come to a common agreement, instead of this one giving all the answers or making all the decisions. Communication can work. They can sort it out. Did I answer your question?
I'm asking that because you also mentioned earlier on the aspect of abilities that people have. You also mentioned earlier that people have different abilities. So the way I was reading into the story of Adam and Eve is that Adam is given the ability to protect. but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was above Eve. So if you have two people, there has to be some sort of order still that may be defined by their different abilities.
I'm still standing on my point. I'm still standing on my point. If there are two people, and we talk about order, because hierarchy has to do with order, right? Accountability. They can talk it out. They can talk it out. There's no need for hierarchy. I don't think there's a hierarchy between two people, regardless of their abilities. There's no hierarchy between two people. Let's just look at the reasons for hierarchy. The reason for hierarchy is for order, not chaos. With my understanding, there can't be chaos between two people. We had a hand, Elder J.
I don't know. I'll try to remember what I wanted to ask. Okay, I wanted to ask Darlington, is there a reason to have hierarchy, for example, in marriage?
No, there's no reason. And I'm saying no because it seems as though most of us have the concept of hierarchy where one is above the other. But in my mind, hierarchy can be a structure where people stand in their different abilities and no one is above the other.
The definition of hierarchy. Someone is above the other person. I don't think you answered Elder Chris's question.
So if we go by that definition, then there is no need for hierarchy in marriage.
So going back to your original question, is there need for hierarchy between two people?
By that definition, no.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm out of time. Is that all you wanted to say, Elder G? Anyone else with a question? A comment related to what you have concluded as all of us. Not something new. that we haven't talked about. So any addition. Futhi.
I think because even the dictionaries that we have are written by people who are influenced by this contaminated I think it's a contaminated definition of hierarchy, what we are getting. I think I go with Elder D when she said her wish could have been a better term, if I'm quoting her right. Because, you know, if in marriage, for instance, one has got an ability better than the other in a certain setting, while the other person on the other side can have another ability over the other one. So they collaborate.
Okay, thank you. Time's up. This is my last presentation. Just want to combine everything. So, today we talked about hierarchy. And what I wanted us to see, hierarchy isn't all bad. It is necessary for a functioning society. Keyword. Keyword. For a society. And the reasons for hierarchy is because without hierarchy, we wouldn't have order. There would be chaos. So between two people, there's no need for hierarchy. Because I don't think that there can be chaos between two people. I don't think there can be chaos between two people. This is the end of my presentation. However, I'll take questions after the presentation. Thank you. Continue with prayer. Pray. Dear God in heaven, thank you for this study and the understanding that we have had. Please be with each and every one of us. Help us to understand. Help us to understand you better. I pray all this in Christ's name. Amen.